Sun Yun stood face to face with the massive sand golem, gripping his sword tightly. His hands were shaky, but he refused to back down. The golem was enormous, stomping closer with every step, its sheer size making the ground tremble. Summoning his courage, Sun Yun aimed for the glowing core in the golem's chest and struck with all his strength. But it wasn't enough. The sword barely scratched the surface. The golem roared in fury and Sun Yun's heart sank. He had made it even angrier. Now it wasn't just dangerous, it was deadly. Running wasn't an option, so he prepared to strike again, but just as he was about to move, the golem's massive paw grabbed him, pinning him in place. Pain shot through his body as the golem tightened his grip. Memories of all the people who had mocked him flooded his mind. They had always called him a failure, a mediocre artist, someone who would never amount to anything. Their words echoed in his head, and he clenched his teeth. "Stop it," he muttered, anger rising. He wasn't going to let those voices control him anymore. Summoning every bit of strength, he hurled his sword directly at the golem's core. The blade hit its mark, cracking the core. The golem let out an ear-splitting roar and collapsed, crumbling into a pile of sand. Breathing heavily, Sun Yun stared at the remains. "Did I do it?" he whispered, his voice shaky. The system's voice suddenly rang in his head. "Congratulations, you have cleared the first floor of the Tower of Trials." Rewards started pouring in, points, accelerated recovery, and something called a unique trait. Sun Yun's eyes widened when the system revealed his new ability, necromancy. At the spot where the golem had fallen, a strange black mist began to rise. Sun Yun cautiously approached it. The system explained that his necromancy skill allowed him to absorb the sand golem's spirit. Sun Yun hesitated, then pressed yes. The mist swirled around him before vanishing into his body. He felt a surge of energy, stronger and more powerful than ever before. His stats had increased, and for the first time in 7 long years, he felt like he was finally improving. A glowing portal appeared in front of him, leading to a waiting room. Sun Yun stepped through, and the moment he arrived, his legs gave out. He collapsed to the ground, exhausted and bleeding, but before he could panic, he realized something incredible. His injuries were healing on their own. The waiting room had restored him completely. As he looked around, he noticed the room was huge, but strangely empty save for a single bed. He sighed, placing his sword against the wall and lying down. "What now?" he muttered to himself. That's when the system spoke again, listing 5 commands he could use. Info Soar, Community, Inventory, and Trial. Curious, Sun Yun tested each one. The Community option took him to a chat room filled with hunters and other people, all confused and talking over each other. Suddenly, an admin entered and silenced the chat. The admin explained how the tower worked. Points were the currency here, and they were essential for survival. Without points, you couldn't even get water, and the only way to earn points? Completing trials. Sun Yun's determination grew stronger. He opened the store and used some of his points to buy a shield. With the waiting room's healing ability, he trained relentlessly, knowing he had to improve if he wanted to survive the next trial. However, hunger and thirst began to gnaw at him. He used his remaining points to buy a few basic supplies, but it wasn't much. If he hadn't received extra rewards, he wouldn't have been able to afford the shield at all. Time passed quickly in the tower. Before he knew it, the system announced that the second trial was about to begin. Sun Yun took a deep breath. The first floor had been tough, but he had survived. He could do it again. When the system asked if he was ready, he pressed yes. A portal opened before him, and with determination burning in his chest, he stepped through, ready for whatever awaited him.